I have a vivid memory of my brother around the age of 6 climbing slowly up the ladder of a diving board, tiptoeing to the end and peering over the side, down to the glorious and frightening depths of the deep end of the swimming pool. How desperately he wanted to make the dive. His eyes grew big, he thought long and hard, and then he sat at the end of that diving board, wishing for the courage and strength to jump. In the same way, I long to make the dive into technology-enhanced instruction. However, because I lack practice and skill, I tend to avoid the dive into the deep end. So how do I begin to make this dive and not drown in the deep end? Guided by research, questions, and 4 interviews, I begin to climb the ladder of technology-enhanced instruction.
What advice I would give would be to start slow and don't try to do everything all at once. Pick one type of technology, use it, test it out, ask other teachers for shortcuts on how to use it, and try to get a good handle on that one before you use multiple items. And just take your time and don't try to do everything all at once. There are 2 things that I keep in mind when I'm preparing technology. First of all, I keep in mind the diversity of learners in my room, and I try to make things very clear and very accessible. You don't want to make an assignment too complicated so that a student gets exasperated by the technology and the process of achieving the educational goal. You want that to be clear and easy so that they can get past it quickly and actually learn the educational goal that you have for them. The second thing is always have a backup plan. I create multiple opportunities for students to be able to complete a task or turn it in if technology fails.
In relation to the systems we have which back up the support of the school, we use SIMS, which is School Information Management System, which is our school's MIS. It's basically where we keep all of our data. It's a little bit like the US system Engage. We use Office 365 as a platform for sharing resources across the school. Through that we have an intranet based for each of the departments, so people can share resources across departments, but also that's accessible by the students as well. We are moving on to a Moodle platform over the next couple of months, which is going to push that further forward. In terms of particular relation to the students, in 90% of our classrooms, not one of our music classrooms, we have interactive whiteboards. Every single member of staff has their own laptop. We are bring your own device school, so every single student is expected to bring either a laptop, an iPad or a tablet with them to school. But what we do as a key part of our PD across the school is we run breakout sessions which are part of our PD days, and staff get to choose which sessions they want to attend. So in the upcoming PD days we have sessions on Excel, sessions on using PowerPoint and Sway. We have sessions on using educational technology platforms like Memrise. So it's a key part of what we do is to make sure that these things are continually coming up.
So I think one of the main ways and the ways they're assessed is through composing. So we use a software called Sibelius. So that's one of the main pieces of software we use in the music classroom, and that helps them compose and create scores. The other thing is by the use of iPads or their own computers to do research or look things up. Sometimes there's a problem with language, so they often use translators as well. We have projectors. Something I would like is interactive whiteboards, but we don't have that at the moment. We sometimes use things like Memrise, Kahoots, like technology games like this to help them remember things.
Recently, we were finishing up World War I and moving into World War II, but the years in between needed to be understood a little bit better before we jumped right into the war. So we did a web quest, which is a really good activity for students to help them understand what was going on in 4 major countries and how dictators rose. So it was a web quest, and it was all inclusive, where there were instructions right on the web page. You could download a document and fill out the information that you needed, and there are also several links embedded right into each section, so that students didn't have to go through Google and get 3 billion options.
Well, I've been in a variety of different schools that have different rules on how they should or shouldn't use their technology. Like some schools allow people to bring their phones and whatever to class, and one thing that they've done to make sure students aren't on what they shouldn't be is they block certain things on the internet itself so that they can't get to that, and so they're less likely to just be on their phones to have fun and distract themselves. But I really think it's up to the teacher or of each classroom or the director of the school to put the limits on what should and shouldn't be done with technology.
So, did my brother finally make the dive? Well, after a lot of cheering and encouraging from the rest of us down below, he finally stood up on his shaky legs and made the plunge. Likewise, it's time for me to stand up on my shaky legs and listen to all those teachers who have already made the dive and seen positive results. Technology does not need to be dreaded and feared. Rather, it should be looked upon as a useful tool and support toward the ultimate goal, students who are empowered learners.